It's that time of the week. Yes, this week's Cult Movie Show, your weekly look at cult movies. Please welcome your hosts, Warren and Velvet.
Yes, it is that time of the week again. Welcome to podcast 38 of the Cult Movie Show with myself, Warren, and of course with me in the virtual studio as always is Velvet. How are you, Velvet?
I'm doing quite swimmingly, and I don't like to swim, so that's, huge coming from me. Got an amazing show, as always, and it's going to be made even more amazing by our guest tonight. We actually have a fellow podcaster. He's one of our friends from Only Funny to Us. We have Cliff. Introduce yourself, Cliff.
Hi, I'm Cliff from Only Funny to Us. It's my cheeseball radio voice. Hi, how are you?
Well done.
Now, Cliff has actually been on the show. I think this is actually a third time. I think is that. I think it's this is number 3 actually. Number 3. So going back into the 20s, I think.
Wow.
Something like that. Back in the days with Gary and talking about some interesting films. So it's great to have you here, Cliff.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Excellent.
And we go. One thing though. First of all, Cliff, I was listening to your show about 3 weeks ago, I think it was, and you were talking about movie remakes.
Oh, reboots.
Reboots. Yes, somebody needs. I'm not going to say their name. Needs to understand the difference between remake and franchise.
Oh, no. We're not detail driven. You understand that, right? We don't pay attention to. We really just get drunk and talk crap for an hour, 2 or 3. It depends. But that's why I'm not sober for this show. But hey, here we go. Caveat.
Well, I love that you guys call your podcast Only Funny to Us, because it's actually only funny to anybody listening. And anytime I listen to your podcast, I'm laughing too. So it's contagious.
We just sit around and make jokes and look around the room and see who laughs at it, and then we keep going if 2 people laugh at it. So that's the formula, really. Okay, 2 people are laughing, keep going. Stretch the bit, stretch it. All right, no one's laughing anymore. Stop. That's kind of how it works.
One of my favorite things that you guys do is when you get the foreign food menus and you read the English translations. Oh my God, I cry laughed about that. Because it was just absurd.
We love
absurd.
We love the lists from Reddit and from I don't know. I'm drunk at the moment. We love the lists from the internet. The ones we find, okay, this is the top 10 blah, blah, clickbait junk, so we'll just read that out. And, okay, that fills time. That works. We laugh at it. Go. We don't lie about the show. The show is not great, but hey.
And then you guys do a lot of great gags, because another one I liked was when you kept saying you're turning somebody's microphone off, but then they kept interrupting you guys, and you're like, turn off his microphone, turn it off.
Yep.
I don't know how he keeps talking. I turned it off. And then they're like, okay, his microphone's off. And somebody starts talking, then the guy interrupts him again, and he's like, I thought you turned off his fucking microphone. And it's just such a funny gag, and it just
completely
keeps
stolen. We stole that. We stole that
funny.
from an amazing DJ or podcaster now called Phil Hendry.
Yes,
who used to have his characters break off of hold. They broke out of hold jail. So we thought that. And Ben has a tendency to get really annoyed at someone and just turn the microphone off. That's what we did.
But they say mimicry is the highest form of flattery. So, stealing a skit, I think it's still the Wild West in podcast land, so we can still get away with it. So if anybody wants to steal any of our skits, please let me know so I can listen in
Do
and
we
tell you how we did it better.
I was about to say, do we actually have skits?
Not yet.
We love a bit, but nobody can stick to it. Ever. Because usually Steve wants to break it and go, what are y'all talking about? Steve, we're doing a joke. Okay, so listen for that. Join just to listen to that.
I did love that.
We pick on Steve. We love him to death. but if anyone ever in this world spends more than 5 minutes with him, you will understand why we cannot stand being around Steve for more than 5 minutes. He's a lovely person for 3 minutes, but you hit number 5, you might as well just commit an act of self-harm. It's horrible.
I love that episode. I love that episode, Cliff, though, when Steve's phone kept going off throughout the podcast.
Oh, damn it. And that was real, too.
That was one of the funniest shows I've actually heard you guys do. That was just hilarious.
It's only funny because someone gets drunk and goes, "What the fuck is that?" Oh, Steve's phone going off.
Oh, dear.
So as you can see,
Apparently the show didn't get funny till everyone started drinking.
Oh.
No, kidding. Someone go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to give you another glowing recommendation. So, as you can see, audience, only funny to us is not only funny to us; it's funny to everybody who listens. So
we passed the test.
Make sure you check it out. Go ahead and subscribe to them on iTunes and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
Please, we're poor. Please subscribe. Please go through our Amazon link.
Exactly. No, totally.
I'll plug it there.
Yeah, no, totally.
We'll plug it all at the end.
Totally. Definitely.
So we're here, of course, though, to talk about cult movies, and we've got some good ones this week. Well, we've got some interesting ones and a really good one. Put it that way.
I like that. Qualify it.
Yes. My interpretation of the word interesting. But we're going to start off with one which is actually, do you want to lead us in with this one, Velvet? Because
okay, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. So, as always, I want to say thank you to those of you on our social media who follow us and tweet us and private message us and email us your suggestions and requests for review, because that's how we came across this movie. Is somebody actually got in contact with us and asked us to review a movie that they have acted in. This is an independent horror film called One Night of Fear. So thank you for doing that, and we'll plug all of our social media at the end for any of you that want to get your movie or short film reviewed, or if you want to come on the show and hang out with us sometime. Anyways, so do you want to do the description, Warren? Because you're so
well, okay, all right. So anyway, it's from 2016.
Sounds scared to do it.
And yes, I know. It's like I thought I have a break this week. No.
Never.
So as we said, from 2016, One Night of Fear. Now it is set in Florida. That's my understanding. Yes. And it's about a group of campers, if you like, who are out for a weekend, camping in some camping grounds somewhere in Florida.
This is the Ocala National Forest, where in real life there have been actual disappearances and murders that have taken place.
A bit like
it's the South. That's what we do.
Yeah. So
everybody's got a hobby.
So is there ever been sort of a bit of an Ivan Milat from Florida, or
it's unknown if it's a group of serial killers or if it's just like random disappearances. It seems like they're all unconnected. It seems like people kind of go out there and just like randomly murder people, or people just randomly disappear. And I think some people just kind of use it as a dumping ground for murders.
I was about to say, it's not just alligators, is it? I mean,
no, definitely not. No, very mysterious, strange disappearances happening there and murders.
Okay, all right.
So in real life, so the movie's very loosely based on this.
So anyway, this group of friends are out on this camping trip, and they start being.
I'm sorry. They keep wanting to stop you on the factual things and go, no, not friends. They hate each other.
Well, a couple of them like each other. I mean, but we'll get to all of that. But anyway, there is an evil character that lives around this camping ground, who basically starts, well, I mean, look, it's a pretty simplistic plot, starts picking them off one by one. And they then, what is left of the group after we've seen a few rather vicious bloody murders, there is quite a bit of blood in this movie, it must be said. And they then take refuge in a sort of somebody's summer house, like holiday house, which is in the middle of nowhere. And they then, of course, are now being hunted by this man. And we find out a little bit about this man, about his growing up. Obviously, he was brought up in a very vicious, violent, it would be said, environment where he witnesses some horrific acts and then goes on to basically carry out those acts himself as he gets older. The question then is, of course, can they survive or can't they survive? Who will live out the night hiding in this house? That's really it. It's your,
it's a good description.
Yeah, it's pretty much just your classic sort of slasher, movie. Basically, there's an evil man with a machete who's trying to hunt them down. They're all in the house.
Yeah, I thought he was a WWE wrestler at some point.
It does.
That's what he looked like.
Yes,
he does. He does. He does look like a wrestler. I can't think of which one he looks like. I can't remember the name, but he does. He looks like a WWE wrestler from like about 10 years ago.
Wasn't there a wrestler that had that really long dark hair, used to wear overalls, a bit like this guy does?
Yeah.
But didn't he crucify Vince McMahon on stage once?
I'm so proud.
Don't you remember that?
I have no clue.
Yeah,
so proud to say I don't
know more than we
anything.
do, Warren.
I've forgotten what this guy's character was, but it may not have been Vince McMahon. It may have been somebody else. But they tied this person to a cross and then erected the cross in the middle of the ring and
that
actually crucified him.
Undertaker might have done, but no, he reminded me of Kevin.
No,
Nash.
that's who it was.
Who he reminded me of.
I was thinking of the Undertaker.
Kevin Nash. Yeah, no, this guy reminded me of, I think, Kevin Nash, but I think Kevin Nash actually had blonde hair. Anyways.
Okay. Okay. So I suppose what did everybody think? Because obviously this is an independent film, so we've got to look at it from that perspective. What did everybody think?
No one owned a fucking cell phone.
Well, yes.
That's what I thought the whole time. The house doesn't have a phone. Four people don't own a phone. The guy in the truck doesn't have a radio. And why did he have a Wisconsin accent in Florida?
Well, maybe he'd moved. Maybe he'd moved from Wisconsin to Florida. He's a Michigan guy. He had to be. We're not going to get out of this place, Like, Jesus, come on. Yeah. You're not from Florida. You're not from Florida.
That is actually what I liked about this movie, is I thought it was actually a nice revival of horror cliches, because yes, big time. I mean, a lot of horror movies we actually watch nowadays try to avoid using all the cliches. They may use one or two. Oh, phones don't work. Oh, there's no phone. This movie has every cliche, everything. She
breaks a heel and trips.
Yes.
Yes.
She breaks a heel and trips.
Yes.
No cell phone, one at a time. The power goes out.
Yes.
Yeah. Classics.
Yes. Abused child turned murderer.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Walking psychopath. Trapped in the house, can't get out of the house because they'll get killed. Characters making bad decisions, leaving the baseball bat on the couch. They have no plan. Then they're like, oh, we're going to use people as bait. I mean, like, every fucking horror cliche you can think of is in this movie. And I thought it was actually kind of funny, because I was just like, oh, I wonder which one they're going to do next.
Yeah, but of course. I think it's all done intentionally. It's not.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I so hope it was intentional.
Because the very, very ending is what solidified it for me. The very, very ending, I'm like, okay, they knew this was a piss take. They knew that they were doing all the cliches. The very last scene of the movie.
Well, do you notice that, throughout this whole film, they start explaining the cliches. So they're very aware of what they're doing, and then it's almost like this is the way it appeared to me. It's almost like they've got all of these cliches in this movie, and then suddenly they're thinking, oh, hang on, maybe we've got to explain why we're doing it. And then they actually start to explain all of them. Like they like there's the classic line about the windows. Why doesn't he smash the windows of the house? And then they go into this explanation of why he doesn't smash the windows. It's where there's no need to do that. We don't need to know that, but they explain it for some reason.
The acting in this movie is actually rather decent. It's not as bad as I've seen in a lot of independent films. And for how silly and cliche this horror film is, I actually thought the acting was rather decent. Even the psychopath grandpa who's over the top and yelling the entire time, I actually enjoyed that. I thought it was really kind of funny.
At least in this one, they all had English as their first language. That's all I can say about that. I mean, it's true. You do pick up one and two every once in a while. He's Austrian. He's just learning the lines phonetically. Bela Lugosi style. Yes. Yes. But remember, there's a lot of people who are actually in this film who have actually got quite a long list of acting credits behind them. Yeah. I mean, like, for instance, when I started watching it, because I didn't really know anything about this film before I started watching, and I suddenly saw, oh, God, it's got Susie Lorraine in it. Now, I remember Susie Lorraine from years ago. She used to be in lots of those retro media movies, like with Misty Monday and all that sort of stuff. So, like she was in the very cultish film, which we haven't spoken about yet, Spider Babe. So
that has been requested.
Yes,
that has been requested.
And in fact, Susie Lorraine, who's in this, is actually and one of the main stars of this too. She's not like one of the ones that gets killed off early. Now she was one of the main stars of Spider Babe. So a lot of these people do have some cred behind them.
Yeah, I mean, they're all working, well, not all of them, but several of them are working actors. Jimmy Dempster has almost 40 acting credits. And then we also have, I just forgot her name, Jessica Sonnenborn. She has a lot of movie credits. I mean, these are people who are, working actors. And it's fun to see them in something as fun and silly as this.
I'll grant you, I have never been in a film. So these people are doing better than I am in films. So I don't want to rag on them too bad, but wow, I can't watch the movie again. It's not. Can't watch it twice. It's nice. I can't watch it twice. Is this like straight to video or straight to YouTube or Vimeo?
Yeah, you can watch this on. Actually, if you have Amazon, you can definitely watch this on Amazon. Is where you can see it right now. So it is available for rental or purchase if you're a big horror fan or you like to support independent film. I have to admit, though, when they were talking about their plan for escape, one of the worst fucking plans I've ever heard in my life was when they were talking about the canoe escape plan. I was like, oh my. So like the entire movie, that was another cliche, is that when they would come up with a plan, it was always the worst plan. And you're just like, I literally found myself going, no, don't do that. What are you doing? That's an awful idea.
Just call the police. Damn it. Simple. Just the phone. The house has a pool table and not a phone. Oh, come on.
That's right, because there's a phone in the
barn.
In the barn, but not in the house.
Like an order feed for the horses.
That's right.
But it doesn't dial 911. Apparently, I guess. You just dial 911 and leave it off the hook. They'll come. They'll show up.
But then again, look, it's an independent film. It's meant to, play with a lot of these ideas of isolationism. You're alone. There's nobody there that can help you other than yourself. Then we play with all those ideas of, they turn on each other while they're, being hunted. Slowly each one goes one at a time, and we're sitting back wondering, okay, which of the lead actors is actually going to be the survivor?
Who got paid the most in this one?
That's right.
I thought they were all going to die. And so just slight spoiler, they didn't all die. I honestly thought they were all going to die in this movie.
We don't do spoilers here, do we?
No,
it depends on the movie.
Yeah,
depends on the movie.
But we won't say who lives and who dies. Okay,
it's a recent. Since this one's recent, we don't want to spoil it just yet. Give people a chance to check it out.
But I think in this movie, because of all the cliches are played with, you actually have to have a survivor, because otherwise it would be breaking what they've done through the entire movie. You know what I mean? So you have to.
Who's left to tell the story type of thing.
Yeah. But one of the things that, and I can't go into this in any real detail, but the cliche of, I mean, considering how many cliches that are broached in this movie, that they missed is at the very ending.
Yes.
And that, the very end of the movie goes down a road that I wasn't expecting. I was expecting another cliche, and we don't get it. Which
end with a question mark on it?
You know. Yeah, that's exactly right.
The end? Question mark.
Question mark. That famous ending from, what was it? The Blob.
Yes, it.
Yeah. You know, there's always that scene, you know, it's where they finally kill the monster, and the very final scene, of course, is some eggs hidden somewhere, or, you know, it's like.
The eye opens. That's
yes.
the one. The eye always opens on a serial killer.
You know.
Oh, it's not
So we were missing that one, I have to admit. But it was.
I like that they actually didn't do that cliche. I like that they actually, like, again, minor spoiler. I like that they didn't do that particular cliche, because they did catch you a little off guard. You're like, oh, I thought I knew how this was going to end, but I didn't. So This movie had a couple of good kills in it, though. I did like at the very beginning. There's a sleeping bag kill, Jason Voorhees style.
Oh, now that is taken. I know that is a pure Jason moment, isn't it? A pure Jason moment. The only thing I have to actually say though is when he is doing the classic sleeping bag kill. In this one, you can clearly tell there is nothing inside the sleeping bag.
There's 4 pillows in there in the hotel.
You know, that is the only thing I would maybe criticize. But I did like it because when that started, I was actually saying to myself, "Oh yes, they did it! They actually did it!"
Yes,
you know,
I was too. I was excited for that. The other one that I liked that actually made me laugh because I'm a sick fuck is when the man got
Honest
decapitated. When the man got decapitated by the car hood, he was like looking at the engine and the killer jumped on the hood and it chopped his head off. I thought that was so funny.
Amazing how sharp those things are.
Yeah,
they're razor sharp.
That was a brutal kill. That was a brutal kill.
But I thought
vertebrae and everything.
I thought the best bit about that though, and we're giving a little bit too much away here. We need to be a little bit careful. But it is actually after that happens when one of our characters, I'll just say, opens the bonnet, and what she does when she opens the bonnet. And I
thought that was funny.
I'm not going to say any more, but I thought that was funny.
I thought that was funny too.
You know, I thought that was good.
I would invite 10 people over who are very sarcastic, turn this on, and hand them alcohol.
Yes.
Because this is hilarious to watch on alcohol. This is fun as hell. Every woman in the room is going to be screaming, "Call the goddamn police!" The whole time. Call somebody.
And that's what I liked about this movie. I found myself doing that. I haven't done that with a movie in a long time. You know, it was actually kind of refreshing because you're like, what are you doing? No, don't do that. Do this. What? No, that's a terrible. Like, I was actually yelling at the screen. I haven't done that in a movie in a long time. It reminded me of watching a slasher flick from the 80s. And I was just like, it was actually fun. It was fun to me.
No, don't go in there. Don't go alone.
Exactly.
Don't have sex, whatever you do. Never have sex in a farm room because you're the first one to die. Kevin Bacon will tell you that.
Exactly. Like Jackie in this movie had a death wish because she kept going outside by herself. Yeah. And I was like, "Stone, what are you doing?" And she's just like, and then of course, what happens? Well, you can guess.
Well, it's but see, that's the thing. I mean, it is. It is that classic genre that we spoke about. You know, it's like that's, you know, those scenes, you know, it's like, don't go down into the basement. Why are you walking down into the basement on your own? You know, all those classic moments from, you know, sort of either suspense or from slasher movies, you know, where we all know they're doing something stupid. And I have to admit, this is from a different movie, but there is a great scene in The Ouija Experiment 2. Where one of the characters drops her phone down a staircase and it all falls, you know, down. And she just stands there and goes, no way, I am not going down there. Yeah, which was a great little play on, I'm not walking down the stairs. But then again, this is an independent movie, obviously on a limited budget, and they're trying to play with all of that, 1980s slasher, type stuff. And I think, from an independent movie making standpoint, I actually think it's not too bad. I mean, if you go into this expecting a Jason movie, well, then you're going to be disappointed because it doesn't have the budget. But if you remember the budget that these guys, worked with, then it's not too bad. It's all shot in HD. It looks pretty good.
I was just getting ready to say the film quality. It's really nice, crystal clear HD quality. That was really impressive. I was like, wow, this isn't grainy. This is really clear.
If they had showed the villain less, if they had just shown less of him, it would have made him more scary.
Yeah,
to just not show his face, not show his bleached overalls. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody got a little nutty with the Clorox.
They kept calling in the beginning of the movie. They kept calling the killer that thing out there, and I'm like, there's nothing supernatural. This is just a crazy person killing people.
That is magic.
Yeah, that is very true, isn't it? I mean, when you look at like the Jason style scenario, yes, you've got this element of. Or the Freddy Krueger or the whatever, you've got that paranormal element through it all the time. Where this is much more simplistic. It's just a person, and we will find out. Once again, I can't give this spoiler away.
Don't do it.
But so I don't know. I mean, so. Maybe I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that paranormal type thing with the killer. But then again, maybe it's refreshing just to have him as a normal guy.
Yeah, I mean,
or the psychological torture that the guy went through. I mean, it was bad, but it looked concurrent. That was the problem I had the past looked very concurrent with the present.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, are two things going on at the same time? No, one is supposed to be.
That was a little confusing.
Yeah.
That was a little confusing. It was supposed to be, I agree, it was supposed to be a flashback, but the transition between the flashback and the present, I have to admit, was not well done, because it did look like it was going on like today.
If they'd have put them in I mean, all they would have to do was gone to Goodwill and put them in different fashions. That's all they had to do. Put them in bell bottoms. Put the girl in bell bottoms and the guy in a Nehru jacket, and we would have known exactly this is the late 60s or 80s. Well, or whatever.
I mean, you're right. There's lots of things they could have done. They also could have maybe have grained that footage up a little bit.
Black and white it.
Black and white it. Or black and white it. Yes, something that shows that it's a memory. Because I was just going to say is just one of the problems is that when you're watching it, you do almost sort of feel, oh, hang on, is this one of the guys that's working with him, and this is someone else they've captured?
That's what I thought at first. Yeah.
I know, and that I've got to admit that could have been maybe done a little bit better. But hey, we all got it. But it just could have been done better, You had
to find out that at the end that's what was happening. But still, I would just put it in black and white. It's a filter. It's cheap.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have to pay. But still, it's not. For an effort, better than I can do. I will say that.
Well,
better than I can't make a film, so there you go.
Right, same here.
I mean, that is the thing, isn't it? When it comes to people sort of say it's like art, isn't it? It's like people. I still remember, all the crap that used to go around, like Jason Pollock, and people would sort of say, I can do better than that, and it's like, no, you can't. No, you actually can't. There is art there. Just because you think it's splatterings of paint on a canvas doesn't actually mean you can do the same thing. And I've seen videos where people try to recreate this sort of stuff, and guess what? They can't. They all say that, anyone can do this. No.
They're all over YouTube. All over YouTube. Yeah. Punch in amateur anything, and there it is. Is that porn? But anyway, YouTube. Sorry. One number 5.
Oh, well, I don't know. Even amateur porn doesn't look quite as good as the professional, does it? I mean, you know.
Oh, I can't.
I agree. It's all about shaving. All about shaving and lighting. No, but I have to admit, for the low budget that this movie has, it got into the action right away. Like, you wanted to see blood and gore. You saw that right away, so I like that. It didn't build up to it. Like, right when you start, there's somebody getting killed.
Oh,
and you get
the wood
the
saw.
sleeping
That
bag.
was cool. With a hand.
Oh, the handsaw. Wow.
The cutaway ones that don't move. That's
yes.
I'm pedantic.
There was a hot poker. There was a hot poker.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was actually pretty hard.
That was so.
That was implied. But it was implied.
Yeah,
it was implied. They didn't like show it. It was implied.
Somebody is compensating something.
You gotta love that the woman brings that up and the man goes, "That's misogynistic."
That's what it looks like. That's horrible.
Well,
it means you drive a Corvette or a Humvee. That's what it means.
Well, it could actually be said, because you've got the red hot poker, so it's got the red tip. I'm not going to say anymore.
Oh, don't make a lipstick reference. Whatever you do.
Okay. Sorry. I shouldn't have maybe have gone.
Great line. Don't apologize.
For the limited budget of this movie, as you can see, it's elicited quite a reaction from all three of us. We're definitely entertained or grossed out or appalled, depending on the scene of the movie.
Well,
it was definitely a film.
But that is the whole point, though. A film is meant to actually get a reaction. And that's the whole point. And this movie does. But then once again, as we've said a couple of times, people have got to remember this is an independent film. You know,
yes, limited budget, limited resources. Exactly. There was one, and so there was quite a bit of gore, but there was also a lot of off-camera and implied stuff. So it was a good mix. So it wasn't overkill. But there was one scene that did make me laugh towards the end. Somebody's intestines fall out, and you can tell it's some sausage links, sausage links with blood covered on them.
Yes,
I thought it was funny.
I would like to say I'd like to see this director in about 20 years and about 30 more films under him, and let's see how he does then. I'll put it that way.
Well, that's exactly
he could
right.
Probably be really great.
Has anybody seen the very first piece of work that was actually done by Steven Spielberg? Now, okay, he was 16 at the time, granted, but yeah, okay.
I'm trying to remember which one that was.
I think he tries to make some war film or something with all his friends,
Bang, you're dead. You know you have to lay down.
Yeah,
stay down. You're dead. I told you.
Yeah. So, and that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it's like, you know, it's independent filmmaking. Now, a lot of people will stay in independent filmmaking their whole life or their whole career. Others won't. Others will start in independent filmmaking and then maybe move on to. I hate to use the word professional. I don't mean that, but I mean
I just say mainstream.
Mainstream. Yeah. You know, so and some people will start in mainstream and end up in independent cinema. It goes in all sorts of, you know, directions. It's a bit like that old line, what is it, B grade movies, where people start their career and end their career.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know?
Every 80s American actor ever.
Yes. Yes.
You get to love vote level and then you go to B movies.
Yes. Although it has to be said that there are a lot of people that make a very healthy living in just doing B movies.
Yes, absolutely.
You get 30 or 40 a year. You can make a living.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing wrong. I can't do it. So, you know,
look at Eric Roberts. He goes back and forth all the time. He does B movies and then he does mainstream movies, and he has over 400 film credits. He has more film credits than a porn star. So, and he's, you know, still working because he loves it. So that's cool.
Money's money.
You know,
money's money.
Well, actually, this is the thing. I mean, if you think about it, I reckon more people talk about Eric than talk about his sister Julia these days.
Nowadays, yes. Nowadays,
absolutely.
You know,
he's scary. He's a lot scarier. He's a lot scarier looking than she is, to be quite honest.
Well,
he's Willem Dafoe frightening.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like in the very first Expendables movie, who was cast to be the villain? Eric Roberts.
Ta-da.
There you go.
Right? I mean, and
Right.
you look at all the ones they've had since then. They've had, Mel Gibson, they've had Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think they've been the two villains they've had after him. But the very first one they chose was Eric Roberts.
Right.
So that says a lot.
Yes,
He's got a
absolutely.
reputation. He plays a good villain. He
Does.
not British.
He's a great
British
stalker. He's
Yeah,
a great
oh,
stalker. If you see him in Stalked by My Doctor, the Lifetime movie, he's an amazing stalker.
But he also...
You know what? That's one of the only cliches they did not put in One Night of I can't even remember.
One Night of Fear?
They didn't make the villain British. Everybody knows that a good villain in American film is British. That's the way we do.
Oh, that is
insult
true.
them that way. That's
Yeah,
the way
but
But you
that's
know
true
what?
these days.
But he didn't speak, and that's a
that's true.
that's a common crazy person cliche. If it's a murderous psychopath doesn't speak and he walks everywhere. You never saw him running.
Very much.
But this is... But
and,
this,
and he hops.
Yeah,
He
but
hops.
remember...
He hops onto the trunk or hops onto the...
Yeah.
But
But remember this... But no, but this
And he
this
can't do
villain...
laundry.
No. No.
He can't not bleach those Oshkosh.
But remember, this villain is also the very classic villain who is used time and time again, and that's the redneck. Like the redneck from the bio. Is it the bio? Is that what you call it? The
synopsis.
no, not that bio.
We don't have.
Is that Louisiana? We have the bayou.
Bayou.
Sorry,
Bayou.
my
I thought you were saying,
accent.
biography.
No, I was going Velvet. What the hell are you on? It's like he walks. It's like the killer walks up to the house and drops the machete and sort of says, "Have you read my latest script?"
Well,
He stalks them for the whole movie, trying to slip scripts under the door and his resume. And
This is a treatment I did on Pretty Woman.
yeah,
this is the improved version. She dies at the end.
Where we swap roles, and the man is the rich one, or the man's the poor one, and he's the prostitute. He's the gigolo, and
Oh God. Although actually Richard Gere did play a gigolo. Now did you mention
yes, he did. American was it American?
American Gigolo.
yes, it's a kind of famous film.
Please reference the old films because I know those. I know the old ones. The new ones I just can't follow anymore.
Well, there've been lots of movies actually with male gigolos, male prostitutes.
Yes.
I mean,
Midnight
tons of them.
Cowboy. We'll have to do
Midnight
Midnight
Cowboy.
Cowboy
Thank
someday.
you. That was
Yeah, we'll have to do Midnight
Um,
Cowboy someday.
John Voight and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. And there's the David Bowie movie set in Berlin in the 1920s.
Oh, he played a prostitute?
Yeah,
Really? Why am I surprised?
I'm sure he played a prostitute. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I forgot what it's called now.
Name eludes.
Yeah, David Bowie. It's just
Google.
it's during like the real the time where in Germany where in the late 20s where the communists were fighting the fascists for control, and he's a gigolo and he gets caught up in the fascist movement, but he's actually not a fascist. I forgot what the film's called now.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Pushing Ahead of the Dame? No, that's not it.
No, it's it's
No, I'm sorry.
Anyway,
failing.
Anyway, I'm not too sure because I don't think our serial.
It was called The All? AWL? All?
No, I don't think so.
Campy Burlette Gigolo movie. David Bowie's Forgotten Campy Berlin Gigolo movie. Just a
Berlin
Gigolo. That's what
Gigolo.
it's
Just a
called.
gigolo. That's yes.
How did you forget that?
I know the Van Halen song, but I don't.
Yeah, I know.
Just a
It's like,
gigolo.
go, and everywhere I go.
Yeah, the Van Halen
Oh my
cover.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious, you guys.
So
Okay, so One Night of Fear. I also gave it bonus points for boobs. We do get to see a couple of boobies in this movie, but they're covered in blood, and I'm not a big fan of blood-covered boobies. So that's a
That was
specific.
tempera. That's Crayola
Yeah.
tempera. You know that.
yeah.
That's an
Egg
acquired taste.
Well, I think pretty much every female cast member in this is either topless at some stage or at least in their underwear.
Not wearing a lot. Not wearing a lot.
No.
It really brings you into the film, though, doesn't it? She's
they know how to keep your attention.
Yeah, it's true. Granted, I give you.
Yeah,
that.
but it's also,
okay. This is interesting. Okay, what is this about? I'll keep watching.
But it's
this
also
is Cinemax. Welcome.
but it's also classic exploitation, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they're making a slasher movie. A slasher movie is an exploitation movie. That's the whole point. So
yes.
So having that in it is fine. Doesn't it's that's what it's meant to be about.
As long as everyone's a consenting adult, it's fine.
True. We're not talking about what is it? Was it El Toro?
Oh God! Oh El Toro! Oh El Topo!
El Topo!
We're not talking about El Topo. That movie was ay. That's what happens when you pick a cult film at random. I try not to do any homework, and sometimes that kind of bites you in the ass, and you're like, we get to see people get raped and animals get murdered. Awesome!
Yes.
Yeah, great film to review.
There, you want to dare? Watch a Serbian film.
Oh my God!
Oh really?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
ever.
off air.
Please don't ever. I was joking totally. Do not ever watch that.
Yeah, if you guys have no idea what a Serbian film is, sorry, because now you're going to be curious and you're going to find out. So sorry. You can thank
your
Cliff.
faith in your faith in humanity will end there. That is
Thank Cliff.
It is it. Oh no, yeah, go ahead. Tag me with that. Paint me with the brush of a Serbian film. That's what I'd like.
Oh dear.
Please, I will beg.
So if you'd like to watch a horror movie that you won't be traumatized by, you can check out One Night of Fear. Support independent film.
That's way funner.
Yes.
Don't watch a Serbian film. I'm not going to say it anymore.
All right. You're making people want to see
movie
it.
I mentioned. Don't. Just don't.
All right.
Unless you're on your if you're on your last breath, go ahead, but it won't make you go.
Well, that'll finish you off. It'll finish you off if you're on your last breath.
Yeah, it'll kill you. Just plain and simple. Faith in humanity is foregone. Just lost at that. Forget it. Do not.
All right. So if we're going
that was a glowing review for that one.
There's your 100th anniversary show right there. There's your 100th episode.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, so if we're going to rate One Night of Fear in Eric Roberts points, as we always do, how many Erics out of 5 are we going to give this?
All right. So, out of a possible 5 Eric Roberts, this is watchable. It is a little slow in some points. There's a bit of pacing. This movie is only an hour and 18 minutes. And honestly, I think that might be, and I'm not saying this to be mean, it might be 18 minutes too long, because there's definitely a part of scenes in the movie where it literally seems like they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we extend this scene to make the movie a little longer? But that being said, you've heard the review. I really wasn't entertained by this for the most part. I enjoyed the cliches. I enjoyed a couple of the kills, got to see some boobs, et cetera, et cetera. So out of a possible 5 Eric Roberts, I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 Eric Roberts.
Okay.
I would agree totally with that. 2 out of 5. Had you included him, I would give it a 3 out of 5. Had he been actually in the film as the villain, as the father. But yeah, I give it that would have been weird, though. He would have gained 40 pounds for that film. I don't think so.
Oh, but anyway, know, right?
I'm giving it 3 out of 5 if he's there. Because just for the evil factor, that grin frightens the hell out of me. But 2 out of 5, I would agree with that completely.
And excellent.
I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit differently to you guys. I'm actually going to give it 4 out of 5 Erics.
Really? Oh,
yeah. And I've got reasons for doing that. And that is that basically it's got lots and lots of faults and all the rest of it, but it is shot really, really well. The acting is, for an independent movie, the acting is actually not too bad. Remember, this is not out of a Hollywood studio. That's not what we're talking about. And simply because it is an independent film. And I've seen a lot of independent films, and I'll tell you what, this is a lot better than a lot of independent films that you generally get to see. So, there are a couple of, faults I find with it and stuff like that. We were talking about the flashbacks and things like that, which are a bit hard to understand. But, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 air. So I actually reckon it's not a bad film.
Excellent. Right on.
I can agree with that. I can give you that.
Yeah. So, all right, that was One Night of Fear. Well, at least I think we spoke about it for about 35 minutes, and we mentioned Night of Fear, I don't know, about 15 minutes. The rest of the time, we were talking about name that movie with a male gigolo in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, bird walking is always fun to do. Come on. It's film. It's a big world.
Oh, dear. So, anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our mini movie review.
It's time to get excited, short film fans. It's mini movie review time.
It most definitely is. And what have you chosen for us this week, Velvet?
Oh, this is a really cool mini movie that I got this week. This just is, hot off the presses. This just got uploaded 6 days ago to Vimeo.com. And I found about this through our Twitter feed. So thank you to our Twitter friends that always turn us on to these cool mini movies or short films. And this one is called Strange Beasts. And it's actually written and directed and produced by Magali Barbet. So she's actually basically a graphic designer, does graphic design, and she created a lot of the effects in this little short film. So the short film itself runs only just about 5 minutes, but it is packed with info. It's very engaging, excellent effects, high production value, good acting. And let me tell you what it's about a little bit. So Strange Beasts is an augmented reality game. So when you're first watching this, you think it's actually a commercial for like a virtual reality, video game. And then they kind of follow this one character around as he's using this and showing you how to use it. And what Strange Beasts does is, like I said, augmented reality game. It allows you to create and grow your own virtual pet, which is, I think, not too far off from stuff we're going to have in the future. Things such as Pokemon Go, where people are chasing around imaginary creatures in public places and interacting with them. And this kind of takes that to a whole new level. It also deals with body modification, and there have been a lot of scientists that have actually predicted that within the next 100 years alone, that humans are going to actually start implementing artificial technology into their bodies. Yes, we're going to start cyborging people, and I can see that happening because we already have laser eye surgery. We already have, the synthetic heart valves that people get implanted. They have the pacemakers that are in their heart. They have the insulin that you stick in your arm that injects your insulin for you on, just a calculated basis, so you don't have to constantly stop and inject and, put in a needle, all this stuff. So this is the way of the future. And this is a nod to that, but it also kind of shows you the consequences of what happens when you rely on this technology too heavily. So it does all this in just 5 minutes. What did you guys think of this short?
It's I quite liked it. I mean, it's sort of like it's a very interesting take on where we're going to go with a mixture of real life and entertainment. Mm-hmm. But it's what's really fascinating about this film, though, is not the creation of the virtual pets and all the rest of it that this guy has. It's the creation of something else, which I don't really want to give away. I want people to watch this.
Right.
He creates something else in his life using this game, and that is, I think, the most interesting thing actually about it is that it's almost. I mean, you think about it now. It wasn't that long ago that if you wanted to talk to your friends, if you wanted to hang out and do stuff, you used to leave the house, right? Mm-hmm. Now so many people, they sit at home, they're on social media, they're on Skype, they're doing all these different things, and they associate with everybody without leaving their home. In fact, it's said now that most people have more friends in their social media than they have in real life.
Yes.
So it's where this film takes it that I think is the really interesting thing. And I can't give it away because it's sort of like the key to this movie. So, yeah.
Right.
It is rather heartbreaking.
Actually. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was anyway. For
No.
other reasons, but if you put yourself in, and the only giveaway really is you see his eyes are red. If you notice early on, you see his eyes are red, and thinking, well, if this is a promotional type of video, they would have made him up so that he didn't look so haggard. But then you look at the end and you realize what's going on. It's touching but scary and rather prophetic all at the same time. I liked it.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
well done,
Well,
extremely well done.
yeah, it's really well done. This surprised me a lot too, because when you first watch this, you don't really know where it's going to go. And honestly, I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of 5 minutes. You know, you okay?
Yeah, it's kind of
he's getting choked up by the
choked
short.
up.
No,
Yeah.
but no, but honestly, I didn't expect to get as much story out of this as they were able to pack in 5 minutes. But it's not a
Yes.
rushed pace at all. This is very well paced, very engaging, and very surprising when you get to the end. You're just kind of like, oh.
if you've seen any promotional, Kickstarter type video, that's what it looks like. And then you
Right.
realize this is way deeper than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's well done. Extremely
And
well done.
Great social commentary also. Like we already hinted at it that people don't get out of the house to socialize, but also when they do get out of the house to socialize, they're not socializing with each other. They're walking down the street, texting people. They're walking down the street, messaging people on instant messenger type apps. So, I mean, this is a very strong nod to that. So I don't want to spoil there's a twist. I don't want to spoil the twist, but if you're a fan of shows such as Black Mirror or even The Twilight Zone, this is something that you will enjoy.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Black Mirror first season. Very.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Except for the one where the guy fucks a pig. It's nothing like that. Nothing like that.
David,
Nothing
Mr.
like that.
Cameron, I'm so surprised at you.
And that's the first episode of Black Mirror. I was like, oh my God, what is this show?
That is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
I was like, are they all going to be like this? Like, I was afraid to watch the next one.
I love Charlie Brooker, but I don't ever want to watch another Black Mirror. I love Charlie Brooker's commentary on television, but I cannot watch another plot by him. It is horrible. Oh, if you haven't seen first episode of Black Mirror, you must watch it. Watch it alone.
Yes, watch it alone. Oh my God. Don't watch it with friends. Don't watch it with family. Don't watch it with parents. I mean, it's mortifying. Watch that first one by yourself. Watch that first one by yourself.
Don't watch it with your kids.
No.
Just
But this, on the other hand, is family friendly. You can watch this with friends and family. You don't have to watch this by yourself. Or you can watch. Okay, so it's called Strange Beasts, plural. So if you want to find it, just go to Vimeo, or Vimeo, as I used to say, Vimeo.com, and type in Strange Beasts, and you will find it and check it out. And make sure you leave a comment that says Cult Movie Show sent you.
Absolutely. All right, we'll just take a quick break, and then we'll be back with our next movie, and this definitely is an interesting one. Yes, understatement all the way. And we're back. And this next movie from 1957 has been often included in many people's lists of one of the worst movies ever made. It's up there with Robot Monster. It's up there with Plan 9 from Outer Space. And there are
stupid. Stupid mind.
are reasons why. Now, as I said, it is called The Giant Claw, and it is about our story is basically about this thing that people think is a flying saucer, but they keep consistently referring to it as a flying battleship.
Battleship.
Endlessly. So anyway, people keep seeing this UFO, but it doesn't appear on radar. And planes keep vanishing out of the sky and all the rest of it. Well, pretty soon we will find out that this UFO is in fact a giant bird from, I think it's meant to be from outer space or from somewhere or other. And it can't be seen because it has an antimatter shell.
Oh, man.
Right? Okay.
They tried science so hard.
I know.
So hard to do science.
And
They really tried.
And anyway, so in the end, the military realised that this is a giant bird which is attacking everybody. It's so in the end, they have to try to come up with a way to destroy its antimatter shell, and well, the science comes back into it, if we can call it science. And then they can obviously try to kill this bird, the giant claw. That's honestly really about it. It's a pretty simplistic story.
And boy, does it end when it ends. It's just show's over. That's it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What did everyone think of the giant claw?
Oh man, I was actually, unfortunately, I was really looking forward to seeing this movie because I already knew like the big surprise that we're going to get into, but I had never actually watched the movie. And I was really gung-ho to watch this, and I ended up I kept nodding off during it. I was so bored with this movie. I was struggling to stay awake. They scienced this movie so hard, and I'm and I'm not anti-science, because there's a way of telling people, the science in a movie that makes it interesting and relatable, but they just were like 5 minutes of fucking dialogue about antimatter and force field, and this is a bird
Maison
from space, and
yes.
I was not engaged by this movie, but I have to admit, every single time they actually showed the claw, you actually find out what it looks like. I laughed every fucking time. It made me laugh every time.
It reminded me of one of the street vendor puppets you get at a festival.
Yes.
Marionettes, like walking birds. They sell them for $8, so they're worth about $3. And they're the dog on the leash without the little leash, the heart, a stiff leash. That's what it looked. It reminded me. That was bad. Now think about it though. If they'd have put a really good effect in, that would have been a good movie, because it's
it would
very
have
much
changed the whole movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But you just couldn't take it serious at all.
Well, it
starts out just like the Giant Menace. If you've ever seen that, it starts out almost exactly the same, except that's Peter Graves. So.
Well, there's something about this movie, and that is that originally, apparently, they did speak to Ray Harryhausen about doing stop motion for this movie. Now,
and if you're not familiar with Ray Harryhausen, I mean, Clash of the Titans, Great Voyage of Sinbad. I mean, he's an icon in this. So, I mean, that would have changed this whole movie.
Although there are some scenes in this movie stolen from Harryhausen films.
Really?
And just shot in. Yeah, there is the scene where some of the buildings are collapsing. That's actually taken from other Harryhausen movies.
God.
Some of the better special effects in this are actually just ripped from other movies.
This movie loves the stock footage.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes. Welcome to the 50s stock footage land of era. Yes, absolutely.
There's a lot of stock footage, a lot of military stock footage in this. And the other thing, too, is that what then happened, because for whatever reason they couldn't get Ray Harryhausen.
Money.
And probably, I think that was the reason. And they engaged...
bills, I wasn't going to cut it.
They engaged the services of a special effects company in Mexico. And what they
does with the suits.
Yes, exactly. And what they ended up with was a marionette. And this thing looks just ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous is the only way to describe it. And in fact, during the premiere screening of this, none of the actors had actually seen like what the monster was going to look like. They just were acting as if the monster was there, right? So they finally got to see the movie, and Jeff Morrow, who was the star of the movie, walked out of the screening of his own movie.
He said every time they showed the monster, the people in the audience erupted with laughter. Erupted with laughter.
So did
How
we.
mortifying. How mortifying. Poor guy. That's terrible.
Damn it.
It's but
Good. He was decent in this. He was the
Yeah, no,
pacing
he
was-
was great.
The pacing's
Except when he
good, the
kissed the
acting's
woman.
good.
Except when he kissed that sleeping woman on the plane, and I'm like, you're gonna get your shit knocked out if you keep doing that.
I would, yeah, that's exactly what I wrote in my notes. I would slap the shit out of that guy if he kissed me
And
while I was sleeping.
But smoking on a plane.
well, it's probably better than what they were also doing in 1957, smoking in spaceships.
Oh yeah. Oxygen. Here's an oxygen-rich environment.
Yeah, let's smoke.
Light up.
Yeah, you know. Although, but then again, smoking in a plane. People used to smoke in planes up until when was it? The late 80s.
Right.
70s.
Yeah.
You know, so but yeah, the monster is absolutely appalling. But there's been a lot of discussion actually about this movie, whether it was actually a straight rip-off of Rodan from Japan, which had actually
They didn't do a good job.
No. which had appeared the year earlier, because Rodan, of course, was from 1956, and there's a lot of similarities in this, because Rodan had this antimatter crap, right? So there's actually a lot of people who say that the Giant Claw is just a straight rip-off of the Rodan film from Japan.
Oh, that's giving it too much credit.
Yeah,
That's giving it too much credit.
you know. But the other
It wasn't
thing,
even the dude in the suit. It was just.
I know it was a marionette. I know.
It caught jet airplanes in its mouth. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Come on.
You know, this movie starts off promising though.
Yeah, it's
because
good.
It starts off with this narration that actually reminds me of Rod Serling. Like it sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yes.
And you know, he's setting up the atmosphere, and I'm just like, oh, this is going to be good. And then the next thing I wrote in my notes is, this film isn't doing a good job of holding my attention. So I had already started nodding off around that time.
I mean, and it threw comic relief in the middle, which is a 50s classic where they threw, oh, well, he just got home and he's in his pajamas. Oh, take a seat. I'll put my pants on. And I expected the girl to come out of the room at that point, but that was.
I did too, honestly. Yeah, I was like, oh, she spent the night. Like, she was romanced by some weirdo kissing her while she's asleep without her permission. And, I didn't like that at all. I did not like that sleep kissing scene.
Well, it's kind of amazing, isn't it? 1957. It's like we can't show people sleeping in the same bed together, but we can. But we can show sexual assault. That's actually fine.
Right. Yeah, and
you know,
charges on that.
And then he steals somebody's newspaper, and I'm like, okay, what's this guy going to do next? I'm like, I don't trust this guy. I don't trust this motherfucker.
I was sitting there watching all the background actors or the extras in the plane, going, somebody's going to tell him shut the fuck up. At some point, they're going to tell them and then of course, would you please shut up?
Shut up. Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, that's real. That works.
And then, of course, our hero discovers the flight pattern for the for the giant claw, and I'm like, is that not the most dubious pattern you've ever seen?
I'll just draw a big spiral.
Yes.
Let's just draw a big spiral. Look at the pattern.
4-year-old could do that. Yay! He's doing this, and then it's building a nest, folks. It's building a nest.
Oh my
god!
God.
It came to Earth to build a nest. I love that.
Yeah, I know.
It came. Oh my god!
Which they managed somehow or other. They can't harm this thing because of its antimatter shield, but somehow or other they can take hunting rifles and shoot the egg so it explodes.
I was actually disturbed by that. I was like, okay, I understand they have to shoot the egg, or else a little giant baby claw is going to hatch. But I'm like, oh, poor baby, it's in the eggs, and they're shooting. I don't know
about it. Kill its babies. That always works.
That'll just make it more pissed. You know,
offspring. It won't wreck New York after that.
And that giant egg magically appeared, because first it shows the fucking bird sitting in the nest.
I know.
And then all of a sudden there's an egg.
I don't see
and all of a sudden the egg's there, and I'm like, what? excuse you guys, what? I was like, it was just stupid.
What was the lady scientist, the female scientist's line? I grew up in Montana. When she picks up the gun.
I know. I was thinking about you,
Because
Velvet.
in school in Montana, they teach you how to shoot. That's what they do.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Yes, that's right. So we didn't.
A strong woman in a character role that was promising. It's like, I like strong women in movies. They work. That's the way life is. There are strong women out there, but damn it, don't let the kiss her on the plane while she's asleep. That's horrible.
I didn't like that. That really, maybe that's what ruined the movie for me. I was like, well, the guy turned into a fucking kiss-stealing pervert, and then he steals the guy's newspaper. I'm like, okay, I don't trust this guy anymore. I can't trust this character.
For him to put his hand on her pants or something. Just put him in. He's touching her bathing suit area on the plane. Shit, I don't want to watch that.
Oh, sorry. But there's something else too about this, and that is that we haven't spoken about one of these films for a while, but this is also pure paranoia cinema from the 1950s. Now, we haven't had a paranoia movie for a while, and so it is kind of cool to get one back again, where, of course, we should maybe just mention what paranoia cinema is, because we haven't done one, Jesus, I think for about 3 months or something. So we should just mention.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
So paranoia cinema, pretty much classically from the United States. I'm not making a comment. I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying. And
go ahead.
Basically from the 1950s, where the movies are in a sense statements on the West versus the East, as in East as in the communist bloc, so the Soviet Union.
Right.
So in many ways, the monsters are meant to represent, the evil empire of the Soviets, and then of course our scientists and all the rest of it are meant to represent the free West, the good guys.
Right.
These movies were classic at the time because, of course, the world to a degree, but especially the United States, was living in a time of paranoia, the Cuban Missile Crisis, all these sorts of things, where it was much easier to scare an audience if the audience was already scared. So that's sort of the whole concept behind it.
Right.
And we've spoken about a fantastic movie, which we must talk about at some stage. We still haven't done it. Matinee, which of course plays with the whole idea of actually screening one of these movies during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's a fantastic film. Stars John Goodman. And he's meant to be a movie promoter, and it's actually set in Florida during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So everyone's worried about whether they're going to be here alive tomorrow, and he decides that this is the perfect time to put one of these movies on, because if the audience is already terrified, well, isn't that great to do a midnight screening? Screaming, yeah, there we go. Yes. So it's another one of those, and there's some great scenes in this where we see all that paranoia cinema. For instance, classic scene when it eats it lands on the United Nations building and starts eating the United Nations building. So, classic scene of, evil Soviets, good Americans, and so forth. So, but the whole point is that I'm not condemning that time. That's just what it was like.
That's
it's just what it was like. So, but it's amazing to watch it now, and you look at it and sort of go, it's so crazy. But then again, it's kind of not, because we're in the last 10 years anyway, and especially in the last 3 years, we're starting to rebirth paranoia again. So it's kind of fascinating to watch what people were like in the 50s to only realize, holy shit, we're repeating the cycle all over again.
Yeah, totally.
So,
but you know what? But unfortunately, the fucking monster in this movie looks so goofy that it kind of throws that out the window.
Yeah, I know.
It really kind of ruins that whole paranoia.
It's a marionette.
Okay. For people who have not
Can't get
seen
past
this
it.
movie, it is so hard to describe how goofy this monster looks. Because at first you're kind of like, oh, it might be a big monster. Then and they can't really tell what it is, and it's not getting picked up on radars. And so they do a pretty slow reveal on this, and they keep only showing like the claws that it has. So you figure out, okay, it's some kind of bird-like, giant bird type thing. When they finally show its head, its face. Every single time I saw it, I laughed. Okay, they put a lot of attention to detail into its nostrils because his nostrils would flare. The nostrils were flaring, and it had a mohawk. I'm just like, why does this have such a strategically placed hairdo?
It's a bird with teeth. The bird's got teeth.
I know.
It's got teeth. It's got teeth inside its beak, which is of course hooked it's got a hooked nose or hooked beak like a parrot. Excuse me, hooked beak like a parrot. And then the eyes just make it look goofy as hell too. They're not quite googly eyes, but
Your thing would catch jet airplanes. It's the size of a battleship, but it'll catch a jet airplane out of the air with its teeth mouth.
I know.
Yeah, it was, but the premise wasn't horrible. If they'd have just had better effect, it would have been a good movie.
Exactly.
The acting was decent.
Yes.
Mostly. I mean, they could leave out the comic relief stuff in the middle, but they always did that. They always relieved you somewhere in the middle, or 3/4 of the way through, with some kind of lightheartedness. But they seriously needed to the writing wasn't horrible. It was okay, but God bless, the thing that wrecked it was the effect.
Absolutely.
That makes it funny, and that's sad.
And the bird call. The bird call. It has
I know.
Annoying screech on loop. It just would not stop. Every time they saw the bird, you saw the bird, it was screeching nonstop. It was the most annoying bird call on the planet. And I was just okay, even if they couldn't see it, they should have been able to hear it. They should have been able to hear it
Let's make a comparison. This or Birdemic. Which one was more annoying with the bird? It's no Alfred Hitchcock. There's no Tippi Hedren in this, but Birdemic was way worse. So, okay, it had. Birdemic was bad. Well, this wasn't horrible. This had decent people. You liked the characters.
It did have decent people.
You liked the characters. But the damn bird, the rubber bird. Well, damn it.
The bird has often actually been compared, or was compared, to a Warner Brothers cartoon character called Beaky Buzzard.
What are you talking about?
Beaky Buzzard. Now, Beaky Buzzard was like a vulture, and this creature has often been compared to the cartoon character Beaky Buzzard. So yeah,
damn it.
Yeah,
makes sense. It's so slowly.
But the other thing too, we were talking about using stock footage and stealing from other people's movies. You'll notice that a lot of the flying scenes in this, when they actually hop into a plane to go and try to take the giant claw on, it's actually scenes from 60 Seconds Over Tokyo.
Tokyo, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Or is it not? Is it 90 seconds? 90 seconds. 90 Seconds Over Tokyo, and you'll actually see all the flying of the planes is lifted straight out of that movie.
It.
Oh my god!
If you notice close, the one the plane that it grabs is a completely different model plane as they showed in the Jimmy. It's a delta wing. No, it's a straight wing. No.
Well, it's like they use this modified B-25 bomber to attack. Anyway, so when you see it at the airfield, it's in 1950s colours, so it's got modern American markings on it, and it's silver. When it takes off, because of course it's lifted from 90 Seconds Over Tokyo, it's in World War II camouflage with World War II markings. Then when it's in the air and there's a model of it, it goes back to being modern and in silver. And then when they show it flying around, it goes back to being the World War II one, because once again, they're using the footage from 90 Seconds Over Tokyo. So it's, God.
Leave the model stuff to the Japanese, because they're damned good at it.
I know.
Do it in California. Leave the Japanese. They're better at it than you are. They make great models. They're deep strike and stuff. Tanks that can fire.
So look, it's, I don't know, is there much more we can really say about the
only
giant
other thing
claw?
I want to say is I liked Pierre, the moonshine making French Canadian.
Oh, yes.
he had that just that exaggerated French Canadian accent, which is not as smooth as a French accent. It's that French Canadian accent, and it's very
Yes. Welcome to America. French speak that way.
So every time he talked, it made me laugh. And his solution to everything was to get everybody drunk. And
Yes.
I'm like, yep. Yeah,
Yes.
and he had a blood-curdling scream, and I couldn't help it. It made me laugh because I'm like, dang, he's got the most convincing acting of this whole movie is his scream.
You knew he was gonna. You knew
he was going to bite the bullet. Yeah, he was going to bite the bullet. Poor guy.
He's gonna panic and run and get grabbed. You knew it was gonna
You
happen.
know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'd say watch it. It's great.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Watch it again. Just to see the dude not get his jaws racked by the girl who he kisses him.
Oh, and it's short too. Like a lot of the movies
Yes,
from this
thank
time, it's an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Hour
so-
15, hour 12, yeah.
Yeah, so it's short. Most of these movies, the style of B grade sort of movies at that time were pretty short. It's I reckon it's fun. I mean, this one, seriously, on a Sunday afternoon, if you just got nothing better to do and you just want to, or late on maybe early Saturday morning, 3 a.m., after there's been way too much alcohol flowing around, this is going to be fun,
You will.
Yeah.
You just ramp up your friends to the point where they actually reveal the battleship with wings or whatever the hell it's called. When they reveal that damn marionette, you will
that's
laugh
so
your
funny.
ass off.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I know.
Wish it hadn't let the movie down that way, but hey, they worked hard on it.
Yeah.
It was good. It wasn't horrible.
No, the movie's not, apart from the marionette bird. I have to admit the movie is actually it's to a degree it's as good as sort of what is it, Earth versus the Flying Saucers?
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, if Ray Harryhausen seriously had been employed to do this, then I really think this movie would have. A lot of people would be talking about it like Earth versus the Flying Saucers.
Yes.
It's the fucking bird that got it off.
It ruins the whole movie.
I know.
I mean,
the whole movie.
Even Earth versus the Spider, they used a real spider in there.
Yeah.
Come on. And it's always Earth versus some shit.
Mind you, this is not as bad as is it the giant crab or the island of the crabs or something?
Island of the Crabs.
God.
Yeah.
Island of the Crabs. Where have you seen where the giant crab is trying to take over the world, but the giant crab speaks with a French accent?
Yes.
Oh,
I know.
my
It's
God.
yeah.
I have to see this one.
This crab
Call him
actually, this
Bisque.
giant
call him
crab,
Bisque.
right? It actually talks, but it talks with a French
Yes, it
accent.
does.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Americans hate it. We hate the French.
Yes.
After Vietnam and the fucking Panama Canal, we hate the French.
Well, it's like in the first
Me, maybe.
it's like in the first go at Godzilla by the Americans. It's like they blame the fucking French. I mean, it's like Americans have been dropping atomic bombs everywhere for about 50 years, but no, they blame it on the French.
Have you noticed that's every one of these 50s era movies you watch? They always show the military guy. What's the solution? Nukes.
Yep, that's right. Nukes. I know. Let's nuke it.
Shoot that bomb, that kill that. That's all they.
Shoot that bomb, kill that.
That's it. That's all they do. Shoot it, bomb it, kill it. Make it go away.
That's it. It is interesting, isn't it? Why in American movies like this is the atomic bomb always the answer? Like it's
the end. It's the end all be all. That's it.
Yeah.
That's our
Literally, the end all be all of everything. Everybody. Oh my God.
Nuke it. Make sure we shoot it down over a populated country or city. I mean, let's make sure we put it over New York before we kill it because it'll land right on the city. Of course, this one lands in the water, but good luck getting hit in Hudson.
Well, just
hitting the Hudson and East River from there.
Well, don't remember. Just remember that the atomic does good things and it does bad things. Not a lot of people know this. Not a lot of people know that atomic does bombs. Atomic, it's good. It's bad. No, it's not good. It's bad. But hey, isn't it great? Hey, did you see my inauguration? Atomic is bad. Yeah, it's good. No, whatever. I don't know. I just make it up as I go along. Sorry.
We got great words. We got the best
words. Did you see that one when he was explaining atomic energy? It was like a kindergarten child explaining atomic fusion. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh my! I just snorted. Sorry. Oh my god.
This movie sucks. By the way, guys, this movie sucks. In case you guys didn't notice, this movie sucks.
All right. So, all right.
Final conclusions on this.
So, all right. How are we going to rate this one then?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I honestly did not like this movie. I was bored by it. I kept nodding off. The science was way too ridiculous for me. And when it got to the fucking kiss stealing scene, I was just like, I hated this fucking movie, to be honest. So I'm not going to give it a 0. But because I did laugh every time I saw the bird. The giant sloth. So I'm going to give it a 1 out of a possible 5 Eric Roberts. Because I was entertained by the bird, but that's it. I did not like this movie.
Come on.
What about you? What about you, Cliff?
Oh, the girl was really cute. I really like watching her, who was capable get molested on a plane. That was great. No, I'm seriously kidding. I give it a 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 Eric Roberts.
Okay.
If they'd have just done a better effect, it would have been great.
Yeah.
Or either don't show it till the very, very, very end when they shoot it down over.
Well, even after they showed it, they kept showing blurry versions of it too. They knew it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
This is horrifying. Let's just show it. Just put it in there.
Look, well, okay. If I'm going to rate this in, I don't know, bird flus. I don't know. I reckon, I reckon 2 out of 5 because it could have been a 4 out of 5. Honestly, for a B grade movie, this had so much potential and was just let down by this fucking marionette. You know, it like
the bong. You like to use the bong, hit the bong, watch this movie, laugh your ass off.
It reminded me a little bit of the Terrorhawks from Jerry Anderson, to a degree. It's like it's like anyone who loves Jerry Anderson and they watch the Thunderbirds and Fireball XL5 and all the rest of it, and then suddenly they get this offering, the Terrorhawks, and this is the Terrorhawks of B-grade cinema. Oh dear.
Damn it. I've lost it all on me.
Oh god. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break and we will be right back. Yes, are we? I don't know. Is it gonna play? Yes, it's playing. Oh, fuck it. Let's just talk through the video. Who cares? That's all kinds of shit.
You killed Cliff.
All right, so let's just we're going to go to something a little bit more serious now, and we after talking about crap science in movies, this movie actually a lot of people tip their hats to it because it's actually playing with science that could realistically be true. And that's where I think this movie really blew people away. And we are talking about The Thing from 1982. Now, so that's the thing. We're not talking about The Thing from 2011, and we're not talking about The Thing from Another World from 1951. We're actually talking about John Carpenter's version from 1982, which a lot of people say Well, many people actually describe this as one of the best Alien films actually ever made. I'm not 100% sure I would say that's right, but in regards to a lot of the science, I think until Alien, the actual movie Alien, came along, there was something to be said about this movie being really, really up there. Now, do I need to really explain what the thing is about? I think everybody really knows.
There's always somebody who's never seen it.
Oh, right. So the basic concept of, well, not necessarily the original movie, but this is the 1982 version, is that 100,000 years ago, and this is where there is some scientific crap, but anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. The spaceship supposedly crash lands in the Antarctic, an alien spacecraft, and some researchers in the 1980s from a Norwegian scientific base discover the spaceship, and I don't think I'm not giving too much away, discover that there's an alien in the ice. They bring it back, and of course it escapes. And it starts killing everybody. Now, that's pretty much the concept of even the original 1951 movie. But where this movie gets really, really interesting is the science behind it. It's the creature itself. It's not just a guy in a rubber suit who's going, right. The whole idea of this is that the creature is not meant to be a creature as in like a dog or a cat or a human or whatever. It's a social animal to the degree where the actual cellular structure are independent entities. And so the cells can actually separate. They can actually then mutate with another cell and then actually take on the characteristics of the cell that it's just copied, if you like.
Right.
And so the idea that even just a single cell can enter a human body, start to multiply, take over the cells, and then this single cell is basically reproducing, and it can then turn itself into anything it likes. It can mimic a human, a dog, you name it, anything. It can mimic basically anything that lives. Okay, it can't mimic an armchair, for argument's sake. Okay. And this is what makes the movie so astounding. But then, of course, it turns into a classic question of survival, a bit like we were talking about, before with One Night of Fear, where the idea that you've got a group of people isolated, they're alone, they're outside of communication, and of course this thing is killing them off, and they of course have to fight back and try to kill it. But this movie then gets even goes a bit further. It's not so much about the concept of trying to kill it, because without giving too much away, they realise none of them are going to survive. It's not a question of living or dying in this movie. It becomes a question of quarantine. And quarantine of the creature. And that's what makes this movie so different to anything which had come along before. It's one of those breaking movies, a little bit like Saving Private Ryan, or a movie that just came along and just did it so differently to everybody else. So what's everyone's thoughts on John Carpenter's version of The Thing?
This movie thank you. I consider this movie an actual cinematic masterpiece in the chronicles of horror cinema, because it has expert storytelling. The entire movie, I've seen this movie several times, over my lifetime, and I haven't watched it in a couple of years. So of course I watched it this week to refresh my memory. And even now, even though I know what happens, I've seen all this special effects, I know where all the jump scares are. The jump scares still get me, and there's still this feeling of tension the entire time I watch this movie. It's an expertly told story, and the special effects are amazing for the time. They hold up so well. Of course, it doesn't look as real as it did back in the day, but it's not dated in a bad way. It's still considering the technology they were using to make the creature or the thing in this movie. It's so amazing. If you haven't seen this movie and you like horror, you're doing yourself a disservice by not seeing this at least once.
I just wonder why they didn't do any goddamn research while they were there. But that's just me.
I was actually thinking about
I know.
Pedantic asshole. So, but yeah, it's well done. It's way better than the original, which left a lot to imagination. But this one, you get some stop motion, you get some practical effects, which I like better than CGI dollies. I just don't like that stuff. But yeah, it's well done. And does it ramp the tension? Yes, very much so. Because it does become a who do you trust? Excuse me. It becomes a who no one trusts anyone, according to in the film. No one trusts anyone. And Kurt Russell really became a better actor after Disney stuff, after he left Disney. So it's really, he did. He was, the computer that wore tennis shoes and then became Tango and Cash, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But still, he does a very good job in this and highly recommend it. It's probably the best of the reboots because it was a reboot and then there's a reboot of the reboot. But I give you this one is the best. And then, of course, I can't remember the actor's name. It's with him at the end of the film.
Keith David.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
He's got the most iconic voice you'll ever hear. If you play video games as much as I do, you know Keith David from everything. So
I love Keith David.
Different. He looks so different in the film. But
yes, he's so young. I love Keith David. He's a badass in this movie. He's a badass in They Live, and he's a funny motherfucker in There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
Play the Saints Row series and video games, and you'll love Keith David as well.
Yes, he's in that as well. So very iconic actor. There's quite a few actors in here. Kurt Russell.
Wilford Brimley, Mr. Diabetes.
Absolutely.
Brimley.
But the other thing that you touched on before, Cliff, though, is for a scientific base, they seem to be more heavily armed than an average army post in Afghanistan. I mean, they've got rifles, pistols, they've got explosives, they've got flamethrowers, for fuck's sake.
Dynamite. Dynamite and flamethrowers.
How many Antarctic research stations have flamethrowers? I mean, no. But then again, it's sort of needed for the film, though.
Yeah, true, and that's fine. You can suspend disbelief for a while, but still, it's wow. They fly a helicopter all over the place. Really? I don't think you can do that. But the air's pretty thin. But hey, this is coming from the son of a helicopter pilot.
We should put it into some context too. This was this all started actually with a book which was called Who Goes There, written in 1938.
Yes.
Then in 1951, and it was a B-grade film called. A lot of people refer to it as The Thing, but it was actually called The Thing from Another World, and it's set exactly the same as this movie in an Antarctic base and so forth. It's just that the science is very different. The way the creature works is very different. Then of course in 1982 we got John Carpenter's vision of it, and I think it just, to me, it's a little bit like there are many movies which are seen as being really iconic, but there was just a little thing about it that made it so different. For instance, like if we talk about the original Alien, in many ways, apart from it had a very good cast and it was, but it was actually the special effects that made that movie so good.
True.
Right. And a lot of people, sort of, if you had made that movie 10 years ago, Alien would not be seen as the masterpiece, that it often is. And I think it's with John Carpenter's version in 1982, by adding this science, like this idea of a social animal, that's what made it so different. It was a little bit like the original Predator movie. I mean, the whole idea that an alien came to Earth not to conquer the planet, but to go on a weekend hunting trip. It was so different. It was just like the idea was just like, oh my God, why has no one thought of that before?
Right. Right. Right.
And I think that's what is so amazing about it. But then, of course, in 2011, it was, well, we shouldn't really say it was remade. The prequel was made. I think the problem that the prequel has, because it's actually quite a good film, because it's set on the Norwegian base, which is where the original movie, where the 1982 movie starts. So the 2011 movie finishes with the exact scene where the 1982 movie starts off.
Yeah.
Right. So it's actually meant to be a direct prequel. But it's so.
I was able to reset my. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the problem that movie had is that a lot of people said it shouldn't have been called The Thing. They should have called it something else.
The pre-thing.
Yeah. I mean, they could have,
something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and that was the problem that the movie had. But it's even the 2011 version is very good because it plays with all of the ideas that John Carpenter originally had, and the special effects are obviously way bigger because, of course, it was made in 2011. So that's just the history of all the Thing stuff for people. Yeah,
good. So you put it all in perspective for people.
Yes.
The only problem I had with it was when he built the spaceship underneath the tool shed.
Well, you did little by little.
Blair built the spaceship. Now that was a little. You ever seen Smell a Sense of Snow? Weird film, you may never have seen it. Smell a Sense of Snow. It's really good. It's a practical film, and then you get to the end and there's a meteor. There's magic. Problem with that. Okay, it's just like, okay, this is really good. Oh, there's a meteor under the ground. That's magic. Oh, fuck.
But remember,
it just blew my sense of disbelief. Yeah, it's like, this is great.
But the thing to remember,
you realize, it's not.
I know, but the thing to remember is that the spaceship that Blair is making underneath the base in the tunnels, it is tiny. But remember, only one cell needs to leave.
Oh, that's true.
Right. And the thing is that, remember, Blair at this point in the movie is not Blair anymore. Blair is now an alien. So he's been taken over. So so he's been replicated.
The whole film, I mean, really messes with your sense of who do you know? Do you know yourself? No one can trust anyone. It's really good for that psychological part. It vacillates between the horror and the psychological, but it works. It really works for that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the new one. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
no, you're fine.
No, the new
this
one
movie is rife. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. So I was just going to quickly just say that if you have seen this and you haven't seen the prequel, because you sort of thought, oh, I don't want to see it. I like the original. I'm not going to waste my time. Don't do that. If you liked John Carpenter's version, you will like the 2011 one.
Oh.
Okay. It's quite seriously, because it plays with exactly the same ideas, works exactly the same way. It is, in a sense, that's exactly the same film, but it's just set on the Norwegian base rather than the American base. And you also get to see a lot more about how they discovered the alien and how they discovered the spaceship. So.
Then that would make sense why they would call it The Thing and not a prequel too, because then if you've seen The Thing, you know that it doesn't end. If you've seen the beginning of The Thing from 82, you would know that the 11 version doesn't end with a nice, concise, clean wrap up.
Yes.
Right.
He's chasing the dog with the helicopter.
Yes.
And exactly. And when you see this original movie, so if you haven't seen the one from the 50s, you haven't seen the prequel from 2011, when you see the 1982 The Thing, I mean, the way this movie opens up is really enticing. It has excellent pacing. And first the movie starts off there's this dog running through the snow, and I love dogs, so any movie that's got a dog in it, I'm already glued in, I'm paying attention. And then all of a sudden this guy is flying around in a helicopter and he's shooting at the dog, and you're like, oh, why is he hunting a dog? And then okay, let's give shouts out to the dog. That was great character acting by that dog.
Oh, damn
ran
right.
up to the U.S. base. Yeah, ran right up to the U.S. base and jumped on a guy, and they're like, oh, cute little doggy. And they're like, oh, what's up with this crazy motherfucker? So, of course, he's going to die because he's trying to kill the dog. And no, but I mean, this movie's really got great pacing. And when you very first see this movie, you don't realize that, you know, he wasn't just a crazy motherfucker. He had good reason to be hunting that dog down in a helicopter. And the reveal in this movie, and when you find out, yikes, you kind of start understanding what's going on. I really identify with the character of Clark in this movie. He's the guy that takes care of all these beautiful husky dogs. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, I would be infected by the thing so fucking fast because I would have been like, doggies!
Watch Clark. Yeah.
But, well, do we need to watch Clark? You'll have to find out when you watch the movie.
It puts you into the film of who do you trust as a watcher, as a viewer of this film? Who do you have no clue who to watch. I like the way he obscured. He didn't show anyone being taken over.
Exactly.
I mean, it really puts you into, God, I don't know if anybody here is uninfected or not. It's really amazing. It's
really got kind of a lot of people never seem to mention this, probably because they don't want people to draw the wrong comparison or parallel. Right. But I mean, it's basically it's a body snatcher type concept.
But you never know. You never know.
Exactly. So it's rife with moral conflict, the question and the importance of humanity and individuality. You know, it's just like, you know, at one point do you stop being you? Do you know you've stopped being you? Because when you start seeing who's actually been taken over by the thing, I don't think they know. Are they there anymore?
Yeah, I would say that they don't know who they are anymore because they don't exist anymore.
There you go.
So they've been taken over.
It's like a silent death. It's like a silent death.
Exactly. Yeah. When they say we're not getting out of this alive, we're just not getting out of this alive. So we're going to take it with us.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's an allegory to something bigger socially, though. I mean, filmmakers love to make that social jump to. And in '82, what was the subject?
I was about to. I was
going to say HIV.
HIV, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really trust kind of thing. And maybe I'm making a really elaborate jump to the social, but
that makes sense. That makes sense because John Carpenter, I mean, directed this. That's not unusual for him to have social commentary in his film. True. So that's a really good point to bring up. But I also like that this movie is not actually bogged down by science. I mean, although we gave a very scientific explanation for this movie, when you watch this movie, they spend like maybe 2 minutes on the whole science thing, and that's like split up into 2 segments of 1 minute here, 1 minute there, just so you know what's going on.
It's a very
they don't do the whole fucking the claw thing, and they don't do the giant claw and give you 5 minutes of science, and then you fall asleep, and then you wake up and there's a goofy bird, and you're just no. This movie doesn't do that.
You don't get exposition. No, you get 3 minutes or 2 minutes of Defender or Space Invaders video to go. Oh, it assimilates. I get it. And so, of course,
exactly
Wilford Brimley say the F word and not say diabetes or threw me for a loop. Actually, that's what he's known for.
What another great thing about this movie is, we're spoiling the shit out of this movie, but the great thing about this movie is you literally cannot spoil it for anyone because even if you've never seen this movie and you listen to us, we're telling you all this stuff about it, you will still be able to watch this movie and you will still be surprised, you'll still be caught off guard, you'll still feel that sense of tension, and the effects are going to get you the first time you see them. You're just going to be like, oh shit, oh my god, like that is some gross shit.
Tell me, practical effects are so much more than CGI. It's just someone had to build that. When you go back to its basic, someone had to actually make that. And when things drip, say, when the fluid drips from the alien, that looks real because it is real. It is actually a fluid. It is not somebody built it in 3D realms or whatever the hell it is that they use to build this stuff in CGI. It's real. Somebody actually mixed that in a bucket and dumped it over there. So it and then the skull. I get too much away, but the head that walks around on spider legs.
Yes.
If you don't like spiders, don't watch this fucking movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
The creature visuals still really creep me out in this. And part of what I've heard in an interview with the guy that was in charge of making the practical effects is they really basically gave him free license to do whatever the fuck he wanted. They were like, it's a creature, nobody knows what it looks like, and he went crazy. And I love that they let him do that. I think it's really rare that people that have that kind of talent are given that kind of outlet for their creativity. And he just went crazy with it. Yeah, it's so good.
I think that's
Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea. I think is meant to be about this species of alien is that it doesn't actually have a form.
A form.
It chooses whatever form it requires to do the job it needs to do. So even on that spaceship, for argument's sake, and we get to learn a bit more about the spaceship in the prequel, actually. But the whole idea is that, like, for instance, they would probably have various different tasks on the spaceship or whatever. So the idea is that each creature will look different to another creature because it's doing a different job. And then it reinvents itself for whatever it has to do. So, yeah, and that's what's kind of amazing about it. It's like this creature doesn't look like anything.
That's what I love. You never know what it looks like. You see bits and pieces of it, but you never know what its actual true, unimitated form is. It's really fascinating. Also, this is interesting. When you guys talked about anyways, let me just say this. There's no female protagonist in this movie, so I thought that was cool that there's no pressure to conform to traditional storytelling methods. They didn't shoehorn in a love story and, save me, and I love you, and I'm not going to let it get you. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the love story, but I like that this is an all-male story, so, this isn't about an unnecessary love story. I mean, sometimes there just isn't a love story going on. This is a survival story.
They seem to cram those. They cram those in nowadays just to appeal to a female audience.
Right,
to be
and
honest,
that's not true.
They don't need to.
Right, I'm a female. I don't want to see a love story in every fucking movie. That's what rom-coms are for. I'll go watch one of those.
It wasn't necessary. There was so much going on, though. If they'd have tried to cram one in, God, that would have been even more complicated.
I love the setting of Antarctica. I mean, it's isolated. There's no resources, and you can't move around freely in Antarctica. Like they were saying, you need the zip line to get just from A to B. You need I love the whole isolation, no resources. It's cold as hell, so they really are limited to where they can move around to, or else they'll freeze to death. I mean, bonus points again, visual effects on the frozen suicide. That's all I'm going to say. That is so creepy. When you see that. Yeah. Oh, that is so creepy. I'm like, oh my God.
And here's the other thing too. Those scenes that you'd see, because obviously in this movie, the doctor and, I've forgotten his name, and Kurt Russell, fly to the Norwegian base to try to work out what on earth's happened. And they're walking through the remains of the Norwegian base, which, by the way, that is actually the remains of the American base after they blew it up. They filmed that later. And so then they turned that into the Norwegian base. But when they're walking around and yes, we see the suicide victim and we see this other stuff in the 2011 film, you get to see how that actually happens.
Damn.
So they don't only just make the movie in 2011, they actually take the scenes from 1982 and recreate them.
That's cool.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's pretty amazing. Now, one thing we should say, we're talking about the science, where I said at the start, where they did get rather incorrect, and that is that the spaceship supposedly crashed into Antarctica 100 million years ago. Okay? Now, here's a slight problem. Antarctica was somewhat warmer 100 million years ago. Okay, it wasn't buried in ice. Now, the thing is, 100 million years ago, dinosaurs lived in Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it's now. Yes, it did get very cold.
Jesus rode them. Never mind.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry. Oh, let an atheism slide.
Oh my God! Is it Liberty University that in the
Yes,
we walk in, and it has a triceratops with a saddle on it?
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness gracious.
They're on the ark
yeah.
that's built in Arkansas too.
Oh, an ark!
Oh,
Yes, I know.
Goodness.
They built an ark.
Goodness.
We could,
No.
we could feed 3 million homeless people, but let's build
Well,
a
this would
fucking
be a
ark.
whole different
yeah.
movie if there were dinosaurs.
Oh,
Yeah, but this is
Sorry if you love Jesus. I apologize.
but this is but this is the whole point. When this thing crashed 100 million years ago, if it crashes in Antarctica, even the inland of Antarctica 100 million years ago, was full of animals. Like it wasn't the
Jungles.
Yeah, it was just was totally different, you know. And so they sort of mucked that up a little bit, but then again, it doesn't.
Well,
really
they were
matter.
only guessing. They were just saying it was really
yeah.
old. They didn't know how old it was.
Yeah.
They were just guessing. They're like, "How old is this? I don't know. Millions of years."
Stuff
You know, they
emerges
didn't
from
know.
the ice all the time.
So-
This might be
so
100,000 years old.
You know,
So it's definitely not enough to ruin the movie.
No.
yeah, but the whole but I just for me, if they had have said, "Oh, it was 20,000 years ago," all right, that's fine. But 100 million years ago, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work.
100 million
No, that doesn't work.
dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. All
Anyway.
right, throw that out there.
Anyway,
All right.
yeah.
So we go. Okay. Effective jump scares. This movie uses very
God.
few and far between jump scares, but they're very effective. And there are the few times that jump scares actually forward the story. This isn't just, oh, gotcha. Like they're
True.
it actually furthers the story. It's a part of the story. So be on the lookout for those. They're very effective, very well done, spaced out quite nicely.
I really like the one where they, like I said, mentioned earlier,
The blood test.
Well, yes. And
Yeah.
oh, God damn it. That one jumped out at me because I hadn't seen it before. It's like, well, we're just going to, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's happy. Like, well, we're expecting this not to be effective, but it damn well was. But the head on the spider legs, when they look at it,
Yes.
they go, oh, they just look at it, it appears, and they go, oh, shit.
I know.
I love the
Feel
guy.
bad.
He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Kidding me?
I love that.
That's
straight line.
exactly how normal people would be. That's exactly how you would react. But oh, fuck.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh, damn it. Again? There's another one. Burn that. That's exactly what it felt like. It's like,
It's just
that's
like
what I
just
would
set the
say.
whole fucking place on fire.
Yes.
You know?
Burn it
Yeah.
all. I'll die in the fucking snowbank. Burn it to the ground.
It's a really great movie.
Southern
yeah, and the other thing too is that they filmed this. Obviously, they didn't film it in Antarctica, so they actually filmed this all in. Well, no, a lot of the interior scenes and so forth were all shot on sound stages in Los Angeles, but all of the exterior stuff was actually all done in British Columbia in Canada.
Oh, it does get cold.
Yeah, and apparently, and that's apparently where they shot it all. So the thing was that they needed these big ice flows, and so they needed somewhere really fucking cold.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll
yeah.
do it.
And so that's where they actually chose to film it in Canada. So, but it looks pretty good actually. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
the cinematography is quite nice in this movie.
It's very good.
you know, you could believe they're in Antarctica.
Yes, absolutely. It just feels cold when you watch this movie. It just feels like they're freezing.
No, apparently, even on the sound stages, they were still working in negative degree.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, like when when you see their
Breath.
that's all real. There's nothing. Yeah, I mean, even on the sound stages, that was all. They froze the sound stages.
Wow.
Filmed
Yeah.
it in a KFC walk-in is what they did.
Yeah.
Been in one. It's not fun.
And I want to throw this out there. There might be a couple people that have never seen this movie. If they're watching it for the first time, at the very beginning of the movie, is a very distressed man that you find out is Norwegian, and he's yelling in Norwegian. There's going to be some people that are like, all Norwegians speak English as well as Norwegian. And I just want to say this movie's emotionally accurate. I speak a foreign language fluently. I speak German, and whenever you're upset, you revert to your mother tongue. So if this, Norwegian man is upset about a dog being an alien, he's going to be yelling in Norwegian. So I love that they do that.
They actually deal with that in the prequel, Velvet.
Yes,
because on the Norwegian base, the way they get around with the language.
For people who don't see the prequel, this movie.
The way they get around it is really quite interesting, and that is that the dog handlers and the people, let's say the less educated of the Norwegians who are on the base. No.
Kidding.
Dare you?
What I meant, those who aren't biologists or doctors or something is what I'm trying to say.
We're kidding.
They in the entire movie, they are subtitled and they are speaking Norwegian.
Yeah, they do that.
And then the rest of the cast, the way they get around it is, although it's a Norwegian base, it's meant to have an international crew. And so so the whole idea is that half of the cast are Norwegian, but the other half are a mixture of Americans and Australians. That's the way they get around it. So we get the movie. So we will have a lot of people speaking in Norwegian and others are translating what they say for us. And so the reason why, when he's running out, he's not actually reverting to a back to Norwegian. He's just one of the guys that doesn't speak English.
Gotcha.
But culturally, if you've been to fucking Norway, and I have, they speak English like a motherfucker as
of course they do.
And I'm just saying, there are going to be people that are like, what the fuck, Norwegians speak English as well as Norwegian. I mean, I'm serious. There are people that are sticklers for that, so want to throw that out there. So even on Antarctica in a fucking station, they would still be speaking fucking English. So I always thought it was strange that they did that in that movie.
That's why so many people in the world think Americans are stupid, because we only speak one language, but kind of only need one language because
because you go to Norway
English.
And you're learning Norwegian, they'll be like, I'll speak English. You don't need to speak Norwegian.
There you go. But accommodate us, we're not going to bother.
All Scandinavians speak English. I mean, that's just
exactly.
It's like there's a great Norwegian movie actually, which is it's a mockumentary about a boy band. And it's following it through. And anyway, and they get this
lining up for that.
No, it's a very funny movie though. It's a very funny movie. And anyway, there's one thing where their manager actually they're trying to get an American record contract. And so an American record producer comes to Oslo and they're speaking with him, and their manager doesn't speak English. But of course everyone in the band speaks English, their roadies speak English, even the fucking cook speaks English, right? But their manager doesn't. And he's there at the business meeting, and they're all sitting down, and he's going, and he says, now, do you mind if we do this meeting in English, because I don't speak Norwegian? And they all go, oh yeah, that's all fine, we'll do it all in English. And the band manager's there, and he's going, I have a big dog. My dog likes to play in the park, right? And they're all looking at him and they say, "Don't you speak English?" And it's like, and it's a big ongoing joke. How can you not speak English? You're Norwegian,
Tell me what this is off air. I want to see this.
Very funny mockumentary.
Reminds me of that Monty Python bit in the 70s of "My nipples explode with delight." And he's reading out of
actually
reading out of a translation book.
Actually, your mother smells of elderberries. I fart in your general direction.
I've heard Jesus Christ.
But actually, that just reminded me
on the Holy Grail. I love.
That just reminded me a little bit of about the giant claw. It reminded me of the Jabberwocky. Monty Python's the Jabberwocky.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Harry Jones.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's
all right.
So I think we probably should wrap it up.
Absolutely.
I got to make it a my podcast.
I know. That's exactly right.
We'll get you going. So I love the ending of this movie. It's a very ambiguous ending, so you don't quite quite know if it's a happy end, if it's a neutral end. I mean, but it's a satisfying ending. It doesn't leave you feeling unsatisfied. I love the way this movie ends. I already said at the beginning, I think this is actually a cinematic masterpiece in the chronicles of horror films. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it 5 Erics out of a possible 5 Eric Roberts.
Oh, I definitely give it a 5 out of 5. Definitely give it a 5 out of 5. It plays with your mind more so than a movie currently would do. It really messes with you because you're in it. You're so absorbed into it that you're thinking, "Who in the hell do I root for in this group of people?"
Yeah.
So yes, I give it 5 out of 5. Definitely see it if you haven't.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I would totally agree. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 as well.
Woo!
But I would also say to people, if you've got the time, watch this as a double feature with 2011's version. Seriously,
I want to see it now.
Watch it as a double feature because a lot of the things that aren't explained in the 1982 version will be explained for you in the 2011 version. So I actually say find yourself 3 hours, get some booze in, get some food in, and do it as a double feature. You won't be disappointed.
And watch the original first. Watch 1982, then the prequel, because I feel like it works best that way.
Yeah, otherwise the problem is that just the cinematography is so much better in 2011. You might be a bit disappointed then going back to 1982. And remember, it's a prequel. It doesn't matter if it's afterwards. You know, you've seen the story, and now you see the prequel. Oh, and now we're going to show you what happened before. So that's fine.
That's the most fun, though, thinking about, seeing them out of order, or sort of out of chronological order.
I mean,
because thinking of it later, it's like, well, that's why that. Well, that's why that. Well, that's why. And everything gets explained in your head later, and you play the movie again.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
It's like no one in their right mind is going to watch Prometheus before they watch Alien. They're going to watch Alien first, and then they're going to watch Prometheus.
So sad.
I'm the only person left. I'm the only person who hasn't watched Prometheus. So
it was so bad.
You didn't like Prometheus.
I still haven't watched it.
It was a disappointment. Like, that movie was so good, and then this is how it started. Oh god.
Really? I actually I disagree. I liked Prometheus. Actually, I thought it was good.
Problem with it is it that
I always avoid the spoilers, but I've heard both arguments. You either love it or hate it. Yeah.
When they put out Alien, when you watched it the first time and you saw Alien, it was like, woo, this is crazy, this is amazing, this is really great.
Right.
And then you see this and go, it just doesn't measure up to the thrill I got back then when I saw Alien the first time. That's it's an age. It wasn't meant for people who had seen Alien when it came out to see Prometheus the first time and go, that's because they're going to compare. You're going to compare every sequel to the everyone.
But I think it's a little bit like with Star Wars, all right? So we start at movie so we start at movie 4, right?
Gentlemen.
Okay. So we start at movie 4, but then we go back to movie 1, and because they're all building up to where number 4 starts, the problem is the very first movie, it's about a fucking trade war. How boring can that be?
Oh my god.
It's about a fucking trade war. I mean,
the whole scroll at the beginning is about negotiations.
I know.
Who the fuck wants to watch that? No. And it's full of racial stereotypes that I couldn't stand it. Oh my god!
Turning Star Wars into a political drama was just ridiculous.
No, it was George Lucas going batshit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
At the end of his life, going, well, I got to make some kind of a social. Fuck that. Just make a movie. And make a social
movie. Just make a movie.
You don't have to. I've got to make a social. No, you don't. You're not James Cameron who has to come back with Avatar. Say, protect the Earth. Well, just make a fucking movie that people go, shit, yeah, I'll watch that again.
I know. Although I have to admit though, I'm now about to watch, because it's now available on iTunes, and I actually said this weekend I'm going to watch it. So tonight, this is my plan, is I'm going to watch Star Wars 3.5, which is Rogue One. The one which is meant to be between Star Wars. Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. So Anyway, or it's not three. No, because what was it? So it's you go movie 4, 5, 6. Oh, forget it. Just
don't
no,
even just
no. Just forget it. Just forget it. Anyway. All right.
Muted myself for the spoiler that I screamed out for. Never mind.
Anyway, don't worry.
Really shouldn't drink during your show. Really shouldn't drink during your show, or all throughout, or for 5 minutes to 10. An hour before.
Oh, come on. I think you've got to be if you want to talk about the giant claw.
This is going to be fun. I'm going to come in live on the podcast.
Oh, dear. All right. Well, we should probably we should wrap it up.
Back to the format.
Yes, we should. Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, we should wrap it up because.
All right, Cliff,
because,
go ahead and do your shout out.
I was about to say, Cliff's about to ride up.
Go for it.
Cliff's about to ride a Triceratops off to his other show.
I put a saddle on that fucker and I'm gone. One quick question. When do I apologize for all the shit that I've said? I guess it's here.
I think you already have. You already have.
Check us out at onlyfunnytous.com. There's no twos. There's no numbers. It's onlyfunny2us.com. You can get every issue, every subscription. No, wait a minute. Every show we've ever done, all 160 something. I'm the one that posted, and I can fucking tell you which ones. And follow us on Twitter, only OFTU Podcast, OFTUpodcast.com, and maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. We leave it up to you. We're not hurt. You don't like it? No big deal.
Give it a go. It's a great show.
We do it for group therapy anyway. Really, it's kind of a group therapy thing that it evolved into a podcast because we recorded shit because we didn't want to forget it. When we got it.
No, it's a good show. It's a great show.
That's how we started it. We were like, well, we got some really great stories about TJ stealing runway lights off of, and getting charged with a federal. So let's put that on the internet forever. So all his prospective wives, because he's had 3 in the future, will remember it. And that's kind of how we started doing it. He wanted to name it something weird, like, what was that thing he said? Stories from the Panic Room, and I'm like, no, this is really only funny to us. That's the name of the show because only us laughed at it. Well, only we laughed at it. Sure, what the hell?
It's a great name for a great show. So definitely, everybody check out Only Funny to Us. It's a great podcast.
I appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, we enjoy it, and everybody else will too. All right, so go ahead. Follow them on Twitter. Go ahead and subscribe to their podcast. Tell them Cult Movie Show sent you. And while you're at it, since you're twittering away, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Cult Movie Show. You can also tweet us. Send us direct messages if you have movies that you'd like us to review. If you have a short film or an independent film you want us to check out, go ahead and tweet us or private message us. You can also email us at cultmovieshow@gmail.com. If you want to follow me on my personal social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at OMG It's Velvet. My co-host, I can't talk anymore. My co-host, I was like cohort,
but you're cute, and that makes up for it.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, my co-host Warren, you can follow him on Twitter. He is at Martini Super Dry. So anything else I forgot?
No offense, but he's not cute, and that doesn't make up for it. You're a fabulous man. I appreciate you, and I love you, but you're not pretty.
But he's intelligent and well-spoken, and he knows his movies.
Oh, don't start him on Sheena. Jesus Christ. You'll never hear the end of that story.
Oh,
it hasn't been written yet.
Don't worry.
We reviewed Sheena. We reviewed Sheena on here. He gave her, out of a possible 5 Eric Roberts, he gave her 5,000 Eric Roberts.
That's it, Tanya Roberts. She can
which is a great movie, by the way.
Oh, I do love Tanya Roberts myself.
Yeah, she's great. She's aged nicely, too. Okay, and you can also subscribe to our podcast, Cult Movie Show, on Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube if you're not with iTunes. All right.
Perfect.
Anything else I forgot?
No, I think that's it. We should wrap it up. So thanks, guys. We'll be back.
Yeah, thank you, Cliff, for stopping by.
You for inviting me.
Thank you for being Thank you for being a feminist friend of women. When I say all the terrible things about
strong women are
protect
fucking
them.
attractive. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not. You know what? I'm not sorry. They are. Sorry, a woman that's capable is goddamn attractive. Sorry.
There you go.
Absolutely. All right, we'll be back next week with podcast 39. And until then, we will leave you, as always, with Alana Evans. So see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.